I was just this little girl standing out there waiting for her dad to come home. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have been kind of thinking about something, and I figured I would just share my story. I guess this would probably be one of the starts to my traumatic life series that I want to do. But today's video is going to be about my experience growing up without a father and how that's impacted me, and details about that. I feel like this will help you guys get to know me a little bit better. For those of you who don't know, I struggle with depression and anxiety, and this is one of the traumatic things that have happened in my life. So yeah. So it obviously started when I was born. He was around for hardly no time at all. He really wanted me to be a boy, and then I was a girl, so that didn't really help. So then next thing you know, he was out of my life. He used to call all the time. I was living in New York, which I've lived my entire life until about a month ago, and he ran away to Florida. So we were in New York and he was in Florida. And I have an older sister, and he used to call, and when he would call and stuff, he would always talk to her longer. Like, he would always want to talk to her, and I never understood it because she used to give him attitude and everything. She was so strong and I wasn't, and so she used to give him all this attitude, and he used to want to talk to her longer. So like, that sucked because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I had done wrong, and it just always made me feel unimportant because, he preferred to always talk to her. And in my life, he never really did much of anything for me, but yet he did try, to do stuff for my sister. When she was younger, he paid for her cheerleading uniform and stuff like that, and that hurt also because he was doing something for her and he didn't reach out to do anything like that to me. And another thing that makes it so hard is I resemble him so much. I mean, obviously not with the purple hair, but when I'm my natural blonde hair, like, I look so much like him, and so that hurts because every day that I look in the mirror, I see him, and So I lived my life, and I always wanted to make him happy. I studied so hard in school. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do anything like that. And when he had ran away, when he went to Florida, he was actually in and out of jail all the time for drugs. He was into meth and stuff like that. So I always tried to do everything I could, to make him happy. And I always thought, one day I am going to be able to see him. I'm going to be able to say all these things and tell him how I feel. I kept a journal. I'll probably insert some pictures of the journal that I kept. And it was so hard because I lived my life to be sure that when I seen him, I could be like, Dad, this is what you missed out on. And I remember this one time we were on the phone, and he told me and my sister that he was coming. He told us that he was packing his suitcase and he was going to be up. And I remember days, like probably 3 or 4 days after that, every morning, and I was young, so I didn't know how long it took to go from Florida to New York. So from the very next day, just every day, I would wake up, I'd go outside and be sitting by the driveway, and I'd sit on these pallets and just hang out, play down near the house so I could see the driveway. And I really thought he was coming. So I was just this little girl standing out there waiting for her dad to come home, and obviously that didn't happen, and it broke my heart. So he was in and out of jail, and eventually the phone call stopped. He stopped calling and everything. And I remember one time when he was in jail, I actually had the article of him being arrested and stuff, and on the bottom there was a number. And I was younger and naive, and I was at school. I was in high school, and I actually went to the payphone at school and dialed that number. yeah, I was hoping, I don't know, I was just hoping I could like talk to him or something. I didn't know how it worked, but the after school program that I was in, they found out that I did that, and they contacted my mom. And let's say when I got home, it was so heartbreaking because my mom thought that I was trying to call him, I don't know, she was just putting a lot of pressure on herself, thinking that she did something wrong, and that wasn't the case at all. So that was really, really hard. So after the phone calls had stopped and everything like that, I found out when my grandparents came over, and it was after school. I remember it was so sunny, and like it was just so nice for an April day. It was April 1st, so it was April Fool's Day. I remember getting off the bus, and I went inside, and my grandparents came over and everything, and I just remember my grandfather was sitting in the chair. He was sitting in like a comfy chair. He was sitting back, and he had his hat pulled down over his face. He was just, I don't know, in my opinion, it just looked like he was just like kind of taking a little nap, just kind of resting, kicking back and stuff. And my mom was talking to my grandma, and I was in the kitchen washing my hair. And next thing I know, I went back to my mom's room. We were living in a trailer back then, and I walked into her doorway, and I looked at them, and Mom was crying, and like my heart sank. I felt like something was wrong. Honestly, I thought something had happened to my great-grandmother. And then my mom looked at me, and she just broke down even more. And then my grandma told me what had happened to my dad, said that my dad had passed away. He had a brain aneurysm that erupted, and so it was real sudden, and yeah, it was just real fast. And so I remember falling to the floor in my doorway of my bedroom, just crying, and I picked up my journal that I had kept all those years, and I felt like just everything was swirling around, like all those plans I had to see him, all those things I planned to say to him, all those answers I planned on getting. I just used to think that when I actually seen him again, everything would be better. So I spent my whole life being very angry towards him, and most of the entries I wrote in my journal were just so mean and so angry. And after he passed away, things just changed. For a while I felt really empty, really sad when I would think about it, and this happened in 2008, so it's now 2015, and when I think about it now, I try to look at things differently. There's really no sense at being angry with him. I've started to understand, you know, he left because he felt like he couldn't be the dad that he was supposed to be, and I took everything so personal. So I hurt myself and traumatized myself so much growing up just because of the way I was thinking about things. So I understand that he left for a reason. He didn't come back, probably because that would be really hard to come back to your kids when they're all grown up, and, you know, what do you say? And another thing that breaks my heart is the day that he had passed away, his girlfriend or fiance or whatever she was, she had told us that he started getting some really bad headaches, and he was taking medicine, and they weren't subduing, they weren't going away and stuff. And I guess he was telling her that his girls were coming for him, and he didn't know what to say to us because his girls were coming for him. And that makes me really sad because that's also around the same time that he was claiming to see his mom waving to him, and his mom had passed away already. So it was in his final, you know, and he was thinking about us and thinking about how we were coming for him, and that breaks my heart. But at the same time, thankfully I was raised with my mom and a stepdad. I've had the stepdad since I was really young, so he's my father. I was always so mean to him growing up because I was so angry to my own dad, my biological dad and stuff. So we butted heads the whole time growing up. We were always fighting, and it was just really hard, but things have gotten a lot better. We're actually way closer now, and I actually kind of feel bad if he's watching this. I know he's watching this, but I don't mean to ever talk about things that'll upset him and stuff, you know, because he's a wonderful dad. If you guys are holding grudges towards one or both of your parents, please just try to take a second and just think about why you have that grudge, and if that grudge is really important. I held on to these grudges for so long, and I won't ever have that opportunity to see him, and I won't ever have that opportunity to tell him how much he had hurt me and to explain to him why, I don't know, just why I feel the way I feel, and I will never hear his side of things. And for those of you out there who still have your parents, you can still hear why they do the things they do and stuff like that. If I were you guys, I wouldn't give that up. You have the chance right now to talk to them and to build an understanding with them and to still be family and to still have them in your life. But until next time, guys, bye.